Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. I know we're at the end of the season. You're probably pretty tired, and it's time to start thinking about removals, believe it or not. If we haven't met yet, my name is Daniel Cowan. I'm the founder of Big Star Lights and the product developer here for ChromaGlow Pro. I've spent years building and scaling lighting businesses, and today I want to talk. I'm going to walk you through exactly how permanent lighting fits into a home service business using proven frameworks. And here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover why permanent lighting is one of the best opportunities available right now, how to structure a ChromaGlow offer that feels obvious for the homeowners. Also, where to find high intent customers without paid ads. And then we'll also go over how to close deals confidently without being pushy or salesy. And one note before we get started here too, we're going to do a live draw at the end for a free ChromaGlow Pro display case. It's the same one that our top installers use to close sales, and it's about $500 in value. Or for any of the Canadians on here, it's $700. So stick around until the end, and let's get started here. So here's a quick roadmap of what we're going to cover, because this is not theory. This is also not fluff. This is a real practical system you can apply immediately. First, I'll give you a ChromaGlow Pro overview for those who haven't worked with it yet, and explain the value proposition, not just for the homeowner, but for you as the installer and business owner. This is important because the best products create value on both sides of the transaction. Then we'll talk about why selling permanent lighting right now is such a powerful opportunity. Timing matters here, and removal season gives you advantages you don't get any other time of the year. Next, we'll break down buyer psychology using the ladder of belief, we call it. Once you understand how homeowners think through this decision, selling becomes much easier because you're guiding beliefs instead of pushing a product. After that, I'll show you how to create an irresistible ChromaGlow offer using proven frameworks. So price resistance drops and decisions feel obvious. And then we'll cover where to find these high intent leads and how to close the emotional sale. Because remember, people buy lighting emotionally and then they try to justify it logically. And finally, I'll walk you through how to close the sale with real-world scripts and transitions that you can use on the phone or at the door without sounding pushy or salesy. And by the end of the session, you'll have a complete picture from the opportunity to the psychology, the offer, the leads, and of course the close. While this image is on the screen here, I want to point something out that's really important. Okay, this here, we call this a hero image, is available inside our ChromaGlow Pro community under resources section. And it's one of the most effective visuals you can use when talking to homeowners. And the reason it works is because it doesn't just show lights, it shows the look and the feel the customer actually wants. And then when a homeowner sees this, they immediately understand that ChromaGlow isn't just Christmas lights. It's customizable color and animation, meaning they can change the look anytime for holidays, game day, birthdays, or just about just everyday accent lighting as well. It also communicates versatility, right? So you got all those Christmas and seasonal decor, there's those game day and special events you can set it to, and then that subtle architectural or accent lighting. It also adds visibility and security lighting as well. Another key detail this image communicates without even having to say it is how the system looks at night versus during the day. At night, you get this beautiful, vibrant glow that highlights the structure of the building. And during the day, the system is discreet and nearly invisible, which is one of the biggest concerns homeowners have. It also reinforces that ChromaGlow is smart home ready and is app controlled, easy to use, and modern. And finally, this image supports a conversation. That's why we actually put this image on the display case. But it supports a conversation around long-lasting brightness and durability. And you can layer in your warranty here to increase confidence and reinforce this is a premium long-term system, not a temporary solution. So when you're selling ChromaGlow, don't rush past images like this. Let them sit with it, because once the homeowner sees themselves owning this look, the rest of the conversation becomes much easier. As a professional installer, however, one of the fundamental differences you care about is the simplicity of the installation. And let's take a look at this example home, and you can see how like a 48 volt and a 24 volt and even a 12 volt system compares. So looking here at the 12 volt system, you can see how we have 3 power lines running in parallel to the first set of lights, and we're having to inject power pretty regularly, 3 times throughout the display. And then to get the lights from on the left side there, up from the lower roof line to the upper roof line, we're having to add a booster as well. So it just adds an extra complexity. It also takes quite a bit more material to install. So that's kind of what the schematic of what a 12 volt system looks like. 24 is a little bit better. You've got just 2 injection points now, including the first, I guess 2 plus the first one at the beginning where the controller is. And again, you're still having to use that booster. And then of course, for the 48 volt system, it goes together very much like seasonal lighting. It can be all done up in series, and you don't need a booster anymore, as long as the extension cables aren't more than 30 feet. Okay, that's your limitation for signal. All right, so it's a very, very simple system. We also use 6 diodes in our LEDs, with 3 dedicated to the RGB spectrum and 3 dedicated to the white spectrum. This really gives us really great control of the color temperature, so you get the exact look you're seeking, including those color temperatures. Of course, it's UL approved, and we've added protection mechanisms inside so that if you happen to hook it up backwards or the wrong way, you don't fry the system, and you can immediately troubleshoot where the mistake was. And we've got mechanisms that tell you what happened, and you can find it very quickly. Right now is the second best time of the year to sell permanent lighting. Obviously, the first best time is in October, November. But holiday lighting is right now is still on people's homes and also still in their minds. Okay, and it's also still in their emotions, much more so than they will be after the lights come down. Okay, if you miss this opportunity right now, you may not otherwise get a response from your leads until the weather cools down again next fall or winter. And you can literally see who your hottest prospects are right now, right? By which homes are actually have lights installed. Plus, you're already in contact with customers for removals. So you contact them already, and you might as well bring up permanent lighting as well. You already have their trust. You're already on their rooftops. So we call these warm demand pools, are leads that already are demonstrating buying behavior. And these homeowners have proven they value decorative lighting. Every sale requires a climb up this ladder of belief, we call it. For homeowners to buy permanent lighting, rather, they must believe the opportunity is real. Okay, permanent lighting is better than, say, annual installs in both function and long-term affordability. The path works in this case. Like, we'll take care, you can tell them we'll take care of the removal and credit, say, X dollars towards permanent lights since we are already here. The job will look clean and be seamlessly integrated into your home. The system, they must believe also the system works. ChromaGlow is reliable, durable, and beautiful. Demonstrate it to them with the display case and show the track style you'll use. And I should mention that display case has samples of each of the tracks inside it. And you can bring those out to show them what's going to happen, or what's going to actually be physically attached to their home. The homeowner must also believe you can physically deliver this. They already trust you from seasonal installs, so you can explain, the 10-year warranty if that's what you're offering, and that, of course, they need to believe that they can use it. Okay, it's a simple app. It's got presets. It's low maintenance. Let them have a spin on the app when you meet with them as well. This is very much something you want to sell in person, not necessarily over the phone. You have a much higher close rate. When you speak to a customer, your pitch must collapse the uncertainty at each of these steps. Okay, once all 5 beliefs are met, the sale becomes more natural. So in order to create an irresistible offer, so I think I spelled that wrong. No, I got it. We have to tap into the backbone of why people buy. And if you succeed here, you'll make them feel silly, really, for saying no. Homeowners want a dream outcome, all right? And this is the formula here on the left that you'll see. This is the value formula. So they want this dream outcome, which is discreet in the day, yet beautifully lit home at night, 365 days per year with 0 hassles, okay? We also want to increase the likelihood of success by showing real photos, providing mock-ups of their exact home, and sharing testimonials and offering strong warranties. You can leverage, ChatGPT to do mock-ups on permanent lighting as well pretty easily. And there's another webinar we have you can look at to see how you do that. We want to reduce the time delay by promising fast quotes and priority installation dates. And then lastly, to increase the value, we want to reduce the effort and sacrifice with, offering 1-day installs. App setups included, you tell them they can control it from anywhere. And so there's no decision fatigue. These 4 variables, by adjusting these, you'll be able to increase the value and the perceived value for the customer. Then we create what's called a grand slam offer with our offer stack. Okay, and these are the ones I like to use are credit for seasonal light removal. You're at the home already, so if you expect to budget, say, $500 for the removal, you can offer to apply that towards their permanent lighting. You can also stack in a free custom home mock-up, and you can also offer a lifetime workmanship guarantee. You can do a 10-year product warranty, which is what we support here at Big Star Lights. And then you can also offer the holiday presets, which it comes with the app, and also price lock it if they book during, say, the removal season. Just gives them a little sense of urgency. And this is how you create an offer that feels like an unfair exchange in the customer's favor. Price is the biggest objection here because ChromaGlow Pro is 4 to 5 times the cost to a seasonal leasing model, for example. But the lights pay for themselves in 4 to 5 years, and they'll never need to be replaced. They also get up to 5 times the usage compared to seasonal lights because they are enjoying them all year long. They can double also as security lighting, making the property more safe. And they can also double as architectural lighting, which improves curb appeal and home value at all times of the year. And finally, they are significantly more feature rich compared to static seasonal lights. So encourage them to have fun with them and celebrate life's events more often. This is just a graph here. I threw some numbers and you can kind of see it that between the 4 to 5 year mark where the horizontal line is what the set cost would be for permanent lighting. And then you can see the slanted line going up, which is the cumulative cost over time for doing seasonal installs every year. And you can see that it'll exceed the line at about the 4 to 5 year mark. During removal season, lead generation becomes almost effortless if you know where to look. Your highest intent buyers are your current removal customers who are using seasonal lights, homes that put up their own lights or had their lights installed by competitors, and they're pretty easy to spot. And homes that have lights up, especially late in the season and removal season. I've made a door knocker once exclusive to these customers, pointing out that there's a better year-round alternative if they want to keep their lights up. Door knocking is incredibly effective right now and also in the removal season because the lighting on the home gives you the perfect opener. Like, for example, I'll say your home looked fantastic this year. Want to see what it would look like with permanent lighting? And if there's hesitation, you can direct the conversation to say that seasonal lights are only you will approve for use 90 days per year and have insurance and home insurance is unlikely to cover damage caused by seasonal lights if they're left up. So that fear can be a great motivator. And neighborhoods with high Christmas light participation are also great for leads. These neighborhoods have a keeping up with the Jones mentality. So if you win one permanent lighting job in those neighborhoods, you'll likely get more. Customers leaving bad reviews for competitors is another great place to find leads. You can scour the Google reviews on those competitors, Google Place pages or business pages, and find out who they are and contact them, which is a little bit easier to do if it's a commercial prospect. So these buyers are already emotionally invested in lighting, and your job is to capture interest by communicating value clearly and concisely. To close sales effectively, we use the following principles, which I'll cover in more detail shortly. There's price anchoring. An example is you're already spending, say, $500 to $1,200 every year on holiday lights. Permanent lighting replaces that cost and pays for itself in several years. And then also you can, as we talked about earlier, you can add the removal credit in for the close because you're already a customer, or you say to them, because you're already a customer, your removal credit brings the price down to, say, X dollars. We'll also talk about the A/B close if you haven't heard from that. An example here is, would you prefer full perimeter or front only? Okay, both options is a win. So we call that an A/B close. There's also objection reframing. An example here is, totally understand. Most customers felt that way until they realized permanent lighting actually saves them money in the long term. That's a reframe. And then the final step, then the final step is you have to explain to them, all I need today to reserve your spot is a small deposit. Would next week or the following week be better for your install? So I want to talk a little bit about price anchoring. This is a really important one. Price anchoring is the act of presenting a reference price first so that the actual price you want the customer to accept feels small, reasonable, or obvious by comparison. I'm sure you've been swayed over by price anchoring in your life before. People don't know what something is worth in isolation. They decide if a price is expensive or cheap compared to something else. You see, whoever controls the first comparison controls the perception of value. Okay, the brain evaluates prices relatively, not absolutely. And the first number seen becomes the anchor. So all future prices feel cheap or expensive relative to that anchor, and this happens subconsciously. This is why $7,000 sounds expensive alone, and why $7,000 sounds cheap after, say, $1,500 per year times 10 years equals $15,000, right? Then $7,000 all of a sudden is a pretty good deal. So always anchor against the cost of not buying. Okay, never present your price first. I'll give you some examples of anchoring ChromaGlow Pro. So example 1, annual cost anchor. This is the most powerful one. And I explain most homeowners spend between $1,000 to $2,000 every year on Christmas light installation and removal. So you pause, you let that sink in. Okay, now you can go into the math or multiply it. Over 10 years, that's $10,000 to $20,000. And then you go into presenting ChromaGlow. Permanent lighting costs less than that total, and it lasts 20 plus years. And so why this works is annual cost feels normal, the total cost feels painful, and ChromaGlow feels like the smarter choice. Here's another example, the time and hassle anchor. Every year you book installs, schedule removals, move furniture or like patio furniture around and worry about the weather. And by contrast with ChromaGlow, it's installed once and you're done forever. And so you can reframe the price now. So instead of paying every year in money and time, you pay once and eliminate the hassle. Okay, and that's an example of a time and hassle anchor. Another example, status and lifestyle anchor. So your anchor is most homes on the block only look great 8-10 weeks a year. By contrast, permanent lighting lets your home stand out year round, holidays, birthdays, game days, everyday curb appeal. And so you reframe the price now. This isn't just lighting, it's a lifestyle upgrade. Back again, the removal credit. I'm driving this home. The removal credit anchor. Since you already paid for seasonal lighting, we can apply removal credit toward permanent lighting. And so the reframe here is, so instead of paying for removal and starting from zero next year, that money moves you closer to owning your lighting forever. Okay, these are your common mistakes. Don't quote permanent lighting price first. And don't apologize for the price. Don't defend the cost with features alone. And don't compare to competitor quotes. Okay, price objections usually mean anchoring was skipped. If you show your price first, it feels expensive. If you anchor against what they're already paying, it feels obvious. So when a homeowner says, that's expensive, he's actually means you didn't anchor me first. So go back to the anchor, not the price. One of the simplest but most powerful closing tools is the A/B close. Most contractors ask questions like, do you want to move forward? This gives the customer an easy way to say no. Instead, the A/B close removes the no option and replaces it with a choice between two paths forward. Both options move the sale ahead. The customer just decides how. I'll give you an example. I used to work in a shoe department at a retail store, and there was one guy who could always sell more shoes than anyone else by a mile. And I asked him how, and he said that he only ever had 2 shoes out on the floor per customer. So if the customer tried 2 pairs on and wanted to try a third, he would always ask which of the pairs he could take away. So there was never a decision being made from more than 2 choices. If someone tries to decide between 3 or more, they get decision fatigue, which often leads to indecision and no sale. So don't force your customer to make a decision between more than 2 options, and have those options both be a sale, basically, or a version of a sale. An A/B close works because the brain prefers choosing over rejecting. So when someone is deciding between 2 good options, they feel in control and not sold to. So an example might be, would you like to start with the full perimeter? Or would you prefer to do just the front of the home and expand later? Okay, both are great options, right? Both options are an installation. It removes the do nothing option, and it gives flexibility without losing the sale. Another example is timing. Would next week or the following week be better for your install? Okay, those are 2 options. Why it works? It assumes commitment, and it moves directly to the scheduling phase of the sale. The best time to use the A/B close is after explaining value, after price anchoring, and after handling objections. If you feel the conversation slowing down, that's your cue. Don't ask if they want to. Don't ask if they want to buy. Ask how they want to move forward. So when using the A/B close, remember, if you ask yes, no, or yes or no questions, you'll often hear no. If you offer A/B, you'll get a decision. So don't ask, do you want to think about it? Don't ask, should I send you a quote? Don't ask, does this make sense? Those all have no options that are not in your favor. So replace it with which option works better for you. And so the A/B close isn't about pressure, okay? It's about guiding the decision. When a customer objects, they're not saying no. They're saying, I don't fully understand yet. If you argue or defend your price, you're starting to lose control. Instead, we use objection reframing, and this is changing how the customer sees the issue. The goal is not to win an argument, right? Instead, the goal is to shift perspective so the decision becomes easier. Every objection should follow this sequence. Okay, agree, so the customer feels heard. Clarify when the objection, or clarify what the objection really means, and then redirect back to the decision. Never jump straight to convincing. So let's go over a few objection examples. Objection 1, everybody's heard this. It's too expensive. What they mean is I'm comparing this to nothing, not to what I already spent. So you reframe the script. Totally fair. Most homeowners say that at first. The reason it feels expensive is because it's a one-time investment, not a yearly expense. Once you compare it to what you're already paying every year for Christmas lighting, it ends up saving money in the long term. You can also use a redirect here with the A/B close. Would it make more sense to look at monthly payments, or should we compare it to your annual lighting cost first? Here's another objection. I need to think about it. How many of you have heard that before? What they mean is I don't feel urgency or clarity yet. And so the reframe script is, of course. And just so you know, most people who say that are really deciding when, not if. The only reason I bring it up is because your removal credit and pricing are only available while the crews are still active in this removal season. And the redirect here is, do you want to lock in the credit and think about the design, or should we schedule a follow-up in a few days? Another objection. Let me talk to my spouse. That's very common. What they mean is, I don't feel comfortable deciding alone. The reframe script is, absolutely, that makes sense. Would it be helpful if I sent you a mock-up of your home so you can look at it together? And the redirect here is, would it be better to loop them in now, or should I schedule a quick call with both of you later? Another objection, I don't need lights all year long. What they mean is, I see this as a seasonal product. And the reframe script is, that's exactly why most people switch to permanent lighting. They don't use it every day, but when they do, it's always ready. Plus, homeowners end up using it more than they expect for the holidays, the game days, the backyard nights, everyday curb appeal, security lighting. And the redirect here is, would you mostly use it for holidays, or would you enjoy celebrating other occasions too? Another objection. I'm worried about maintenance or repairs. What they mean is, I'm afraid of ongoing problems. The reframe script here is, that's a smart concern. Permanent lighting is actually less maintenance than seasonal lights because it's professionally installed once and protected with a 10-year warranty. It's UL approved for year-round use instead of just up to 90 days per year as what seasonal lighting is. The redirect here is, would a lifetime workmanship guarantee give you peace of mind? Or would you like me to explain how repairs work? I think we got one more objection here. I saw a cheaper option online. What they mean is, I'm comparing on price, not value. And the reframe script is, you definitely can find cheaper systems. Okay, the difference is usually in durability, brightness, software, and warranty. Most customers who switch to ChromaGlow do so after replacing cheaper systems like Govee once or twice. And so the redirect here is, would you rather save up front or install once and never worry about it again? So reframe when there's hesitation, close when there's clarity, and objections mean they're missing a belief step. Fix the belief step and the sale follows. Okay, an objection isn't a wall, right? It's a signpost telling you that telling you what belief is missing. If you hear the same objection repeatedly, it means A, your anchoring was weak, B, your value wasn't clear, or C, your offer wasn't stacked high enough. So if you fix the system, so you need to fix the system, not the customer. One of the biggest mistakes people make is overthinking how to start getting into permanent lighting. So if you're new here, we launched the 5-home starter bundle, which was designed to give you the fastest, lowest friction path for launching permanent lighting in your business, but without guessing and piecing things together or learning the hard way. And so this is not just a product; it's actually like a business in a box for permanent lighting. And so on our website, you'll see the ChromaGlow Pro 5-home starter kit. It gives you the core hardware to complete about 5 residential installations while achieving gross margins in about the 50 to 60% range. On average, so that's about 125 feet of lighting per home, which covers most standard homes. And so it'll include the lights, the extension cable, common accessories, and 5 obviously 600-watt control boxes. So you're ready to install immediately. Just a note though, we did not include tracks on this bundle. The tracks are installation specific, so that's purchased separately, and just choose which track you require for each installation, and this reduces waste and keeps the costs tight. The resources are where ChromaGlow Pro really separates itself. You're not just buying hardware, right? You're getting everything you need to sell, install, and grow. Okay, included at no extra cost with this with this 5-home bundle. We're going to include a professional display case, the one that we talked about earlier, and to help you close deals at the consultations. And just announcing today here that we're going to include a 4-week live onboarding course. We're going to start that on January 12th, and it will be covering installs, step by step. And we'll dive into some more of the sales process that we've talked about today as well. It will also include access to a private ChromaGlow Pro installer community channel. There'll be a full white label marketing library available to you, which has videos and images and social content that you can shamelessly use on your own channels. And there'll be also a downloadable marketing plan, so you know exactly what to do as you roll out this offering. Plus, we'll give you some sample tracks and cutting templates so you can practice before installing on a real home. And we'll be covering some cutting techniques during that 4-week onboarding course. So this removes almost every learning curve on ChromaGlow Pro. We also removed the biggest fear most contractors have, which is risk. Normally there is a 25% restocking fee on our products, but here's the key. If you attend all 4 of those weekly onboarding sessions, that restocking fee will be completely waived. That means we're fully aligned with you. We want you trained, confident, and successful. This is kind of us saying, if you show up and do the work, we've got your back. So this bundle, it increases your likelihood of success. It'll reduce your time delay. It's going to lower your effort and sacrifice and dramatically de-risks the decision. So if you've been waiting for the right way to start permanent lighting, this is absolutely it. Again, so we'll start the first session on the 4-week program on January 12th. So we've now seen the opportunity, the system, and the easiest way to start. I want to open it up to questions so we can address anything specific to your market or your situation. As you're thinking about those questions, David, if you can give me a hand, we'll do the draw here for the display case.
All right, I'm just pulling up everybody's name here. Thanks for sticking around till the end, everybody.
All right. Anybody have any questions? There's one question here. If a client starts by wanting one section of the home done, are timing-based A/B closes still appropriate? Since we don't carry inventory and installs are tied to shipping timelines, timing isn't really adjustable. So I think the question is, yeah, okay. So if the customer already wants just a really small section of the home done, and you can't really, yeah, I mean, if it is, let's say they just want to do one line on the front of the home, you can't really piece that out into an A and B option if they've already taken the minimal amount. But if it's, say, for example, quite a large home where there's an upper roof line, a lower roof line, maybe there's a backyard as well, then you can offer an A/B solution in that case. I should mention too, we have a new product coming on. I didn't include it in this display or in this presentation. It's a clip that can be screwed onto the home without tracks. And this is a great A/B option because if the customer, like there are customers that, believe it or not, they don't care to have tracks covering the wire. They don't mind the wire being exposed. I think it looks a little off, but it can save a lot of costs because you're no longer cutting aluminum track. And so we have these clips that can be fastened with screws to the home, and then you just clip the lights in. The same Chroma lights. So you could give the option, could give an A/B option to the customer for once we have that. That'll be coming out here within the next month, and it's just in production right now. So it's so the customer has an option. They can install Chroma Pro with the aluminum tracks, or they can install the Chroma Pro with just these clips instead, and they go on the same. They go on the back of the fascia or up on the soffit like normal. Yeah, so Fatty asked, a Chroma Pro installation simple enough to learn by taking the course, or is some hands-on training required? We've got an excellent course, including, I forget how many modules there are. There's like 9 modules, I believe, or maybe there's more. We added some sub-modules too, which include like how to cut the tracks. That's why with this 5-home package, we've included some sample tracks that will ship to you so you can hack them up and try cutting them and just get used to them at home before you go out to the job site. So we don't do in-person training for Chroma Pro, but so we've spent a lot of time and building really great training modules online. So not only can you learn to do it yourself, but you can actually get your technicians on there and learning how to do it. It's a simple enough system that this can be learned online. It doesn't need to be done in person. That's the beauty of the 48-volt system. John asks, how can you offer installations next week or the following if you have to order specific tracks for each home? You can, if you were to close a sale right now, it'll take us, this week we've had a whole bunch of inventory come in. So if you close a sale right now, we'll be able to get you that product for next week pretty easily. If you need custom color, on the other hand, I should mention we're stocking black and white tracks. If you need a different color, that will take a bit longer. That can take could be 2 to 3 weeks if it's custom color. But most homeowners are fine. We found that they're fine with waiting for something custom because custom means take longer generally in the back of their mind, and so the customers are pretty accepting if something's going to be custom painted to match what paint they have on the trim of their home. Excellent questions. David, you want to do the draw there? Well, Todd threw out his hand raised. I'm not sure if that's... Can he ask a question? What is it here? Oh, we're in the Q&A here. I was looking in the comments. Now I'm in the live Q&A. What is the panel install? Do you need a licensed electrician to do it? The panel, how is the panel installed? The panel, there's 2 options for the control panel. The panel can be installed inside the home, in the garage, for example, or it can be installed outside the home. And we have 2 options. One's the outside the home has got this sealed box, and then the one that goes inside the home is not sealed. Danny asks, do you pay techs similar or more than Holiday Lighting for installs? That's a great question. The same. It's very, like I said, this is a really straightforward system. You don't need to be an expert sheet metal cutter and stuff to make these tracks. We've got corner pieces that if you do a hack job on a corner, you can very easily cover it up and make it look really professional. including a peak piece. So if you have a peak and you want to get the light right in the center of the peak, everybody knows how beautiful that looks and professional it looks when the light is smack in the middle. We've got an accessory for that as well. Typically, how much, where did it go here? Typically, how much is done by ladder versus lift? Yeah, I mean, it's a little awkward to do sometimes by ladder if you don't have access or good reach to the backside of the fascia, because that's where you want the lights installed. So I would say more often people are electing to use lifts for this. It does make it a lot faster and safer, because it can sometimes be a little bit awkward to get on the backside of the fascia as opposed to seasonal lights where you're just working along the front of the roof line. Yes, will a copy of this be provided afterwards? Yeah, this is going to be all our webinars are recorded. You can look at ones. We've been doing this for since the spring, so we've got lots of different topics. I encourage you to have a look through that on the event section of the community. What does the 5-home starter kit cost? Great question. We've got. Let me just pull it up here. We are pricing them at, if you're from the US, $6,900. If you're from Canada, it's $9,900, and that includes, again, the 4-week onboarding, the free digital display, free display case, and then the access to the ChromaGlow Pro chat. And what else we got here? Yeah, access to the gallery of videos and images and stuff you can use on your social media. I'll give you free track hunting templates once those are in. And then we'll also give you some practice tracks to work with. And of course, if you take that 4-week onboarding course and you've got a bunch of the ChromaGlow product and you find that, it's not for me, and you find you're unable to sell it, you can always return it back to us and we waive the restocking fee. So there's no risk there. And then, of course, we're going to have the downloadable marketing plan as well to help you succeed out of the gate. Jacob asks, we love this product. The only issue is that it's hard to sell to old clients if, let's say, we make net $1,000 on one installation of ChromaGlow Pros, but I can net $2,000 on one client over 4 years. Very hard to pitch us to lose money on a client. So this is a great argument. Jacob, thanks for asking this. If people want permanent lighting, they want permanent lighting. They're going to, and if you don't offer it, they're going to go to someone else who does. So it's where the industry is moving. It's becoming more and more prevalent. Like we've been seeing like Govee and a number of other up and coming like big box store type quality products. They are marketing it heavily. And that's actually a good thing for us, because just like big box store Christmas lights, people will grow frustrated with them very, very quickly and start looking for a more premium alternative. And so that's what we've positioned the ChromaGlow Pro as. So yes, you are going to be giving up annual reoccurring revenue, but you might also be saving from losing the customer in the first place, because they want to go to the permanent lighting anyway. In terms of profit margins, like we've set the pricing, like if you're charging, say, I think it's around, we've got some spreadsheets. It's on our resources if you want to see a profitability spreadsheet. Kevin, you might have to remind me here. I believe it's a 50 to 60% gross margin, and that's charging out, I think it was at $30 a foot or something like that, or was it 35? I can't remember. But we've seen the whole range anywhere from people charging $25 to $40 a foot for permanent lighting. Assuming the power panels plug into 110 volts. Yes, Danny asked. The controllers, they just plug into a standard plug. Okay, no electrician needed there. Jacob, I hope I answered your question. Did I reframe your question using my own technique here? Jason Kennedy asks, I see the light strings for ChromaGlow come in like 25-foot lengths. Yes. Can these light strings be cut and reattached? Yes, you can cut them. You can put quick connectors that we have on. They hook up very quickly, very simply. So you just cut them to size and attach a little connector on it. Really easy to do. Okay, thanks, Kevin, for clarifying. Yeah, we're seeing 50% gross profit margins if you charge, say, about $30 a foot. So it's pretty similar to what a lot of seasonal lights, we see people with gross margins of 50 to 60%. David asks, is that US or Canadian? Both. Believe it or not, it's both. People charge 25 to $40 US in the United States. And then they also charge the same in Canada. What else? We got some more questions. We got two windows. People are asking in the Q&A, and they're asking in the comments here. So I'm just gonna try to jump back and forth here. Typically, how much is done by ladder versus lift? We talked about that. Okay, good. I think we've covered everything. Oh, is the 4-week live training in person or online? It's online. Peter said, I put out over $200,000 in ChromaGlow quotes and everyone was declined due to price. I know we can improve how we present, especially by anchoring price better, but many of these same clients were also shown seasonal lighting options. How do you balance effective price anchoring for permanent lighting without undermining or devaluing our seasonal service, which is still a core part of the business? Awesome question, Peter. Permanent lighting isn't for everybody. We need to accept that. If they're price sensitive and they don't want to spend 4 or 5 times the price for permanent lighting, they won't. There's the value propositions, which we covered in today, that you can rehearse and have cue cards, and your sales team have cue cards, and just you really know those cold, and then hopefully those value propositions will resonate with those customers. I would suggest to maybe potentially evaluating the neighborhoods you're hitting. I don't know Peter, do you have the display case? I don't know if you got that. That makes a really big difference. We've seen close rates increase by like 30% as soon as you walk in with one of those display cases. John Matt asks, we said Ryan. I noticed permanent lighting. Ryan asks, I noticed permanent lights installations are not peaked. Can you talk about the peaking capabilities with ChromaGlow? So Ryan, if you go onto their website and you look up ChromaGlow peak accessory or something like that, you can search it on the chatbot as well. It'll show you an accessory that can be cut so that very easily, and it fits with most tracks. I would say all the hat tracks and the 2-piece channel track and the fascia track. It works with those. It doesn't work with the drip edge track, and I think that's the only one. And you can use that to get the light dead center at the peak. So I'm not sure if you've looked at the peak accessory, but I encourage you to have a look at it. It's on our product pages. Is the app pretty user friendly? Yeah, it's a pretty basic app, pretty easy to use. And Kevin says it can be paired with Alexa, Google Home as well, which is pretty easy to do. Great question, Mitch. Thanks for asking that. Peter says they don't have the display case. Peter, get your display case. If you're lucky, David will call your name. Yeah, it makes a really big difference. What we sell, guys, is so visual, right? People buy lights, seasonal lights or permanent lighting. People buy lights for 2 reasons. They want a look and they want a convenience. And the best way to communicate look is by physically showing them the product, and you can show them the ease of it as well. Explaining it over the phone or through hand waving in person without showing the product doesn't really do it justice. Convenience is pretty easy to communicate. I mean, all you got to do is return your emails and answer your phone and show up on time. That's how you communicate convenience and professionalism. But for the lights themselves, you need to communicate the look through physical product. Mitch asks, does it work with the Apple HomeKit? I don't believe so. No, I don't think it does. Does it sync to music? Yes, there is a music feature. Ryan, thanks for asking. All right, David, you got a name?
Yes, I do. All right. I am drawing it right now through a random generator. And And it is 3, 2, 1. Simon Thompson.
There you go. Simon Thompson, you're the proud owner of a new display case. We'll get that up to you.
All right. Thanks so much. I'll be emailing you some of those details, Simon.
Michael asks, what benefits does it have over regular ChromaGlow? Totally different system. We've actually discontinued the regular ChromaGlow, and it was a 24-volt system. The lights were they weren't as bright. They worked better facing out instead of down. The tracks were vinyl. It wasn't as customizable. There's less features. No peak pieces. Yeah, it's just a very, very different system. So I could go on. There's like 50 differences. Awesome, Kevin. Yeah, thanks. If you guys want to, there's a link that was put in the comments there. If you want to download the ChromaGlow profitability examples, it's a spreadsheet. You can make a copy of it, plug in your own numbers, and it'll show you exactly how much money you're going to make off this product. And you can, play around with it, change the numbers as much as you want, and come up with your own business model. All right, we'll wrap up here on time. So thanks everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you coming out. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us in the community. Again, it's community.bigstarlights.com. And if we don't chat, have an amazing holiday. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you get some downtime and recover. And we'll talk to you in the new year.